I know it might sound weird, but smartphones pretty much ruined my life back in the day. And still to this day, I'm trying to get out of that loop of the dopamine hits that I get from all the social media apps, all the entertainment industry. And the reason why I'm telling you that is I came to the conclusion that sometimes I feel like I'm present by this phone that I'm holding right now. Like I feel like the first thing that I do when I wake up, still to this day, is to hold my phone. When in reality, I should be doing something else rather than checking my WhatsApp, my iMessages, checking up on the Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. And to be honest, I came to the conclusion that we really manifest our lives based on our conception of ourselves. I always tell you about that, but do we really have what it takes to change our conception of ourselves? Or we just say it to make it sound cool and use all these buzzwords to, lie to ourselves sometimes, to believe that we have to work so hard on it when it's actually a choice. You can choose it right now in this very moment. When I realized that life is just who you are internally pushed out, and that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm trying to tell you this because I don't want you to fall into the same mistakes that I fall into. I've manifested a lot of things without even knowing about manifestation. Like I remember 11 years ago, I was 15 and I was trying to get an A+ in a semester that was so hard. And I remember each and every day in the morning, I used to draw my outcome, like draw the result of it. I'm into drawing and I love drawing, so I just hold my pen and I started to draw the things that I love. And I would feel excited about it. I would get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled actually, without knowing the names of these states and whatnot, without knowing about Neville Goddard, without knowing about Joseph Murphy or Joe Dispenza. I would just pick up the pen and just draw the perfect outcome out of this situation. And lo and behold, I got an A+. And it was one of the best feelings ever. Like, oh my goodness. And it happened again. I got into the faculty of pharmacy. I got into college. And I remember back in the day, since I was young, I was unconsciously like imagining that thing because my dad was a pharmacist. And he embedded that into my subconscious mind. So it wasn't actually my own desire, but it was embedded within me. So, and it happened too because I imagined it feelingly, and it happened. So I manifested a lot of things. This is why I'm telling you guys, if you want something, make sure that you really want it, not anyone else. So back to the story of our thoughts being hijacked by the social media. I think we need to realize something. We need to look at our lives and know that sometimes we need to throw this phone away and sit alone by ourselves. Just sit alone by yourself and ask yourself, who do you want to be and who you are, firstly. Who you are. Who do you want to be? And let me tell you something, it will be uncomfortable at first. I'm not putting any limiting beliefs on you, but for years you've been trying to escape your thoughts. Escape from it. Escape from your thoughts by just scrolling aimlessly. And now you're trying to find a purpose to what you're doing. The last book that I published here on the channel, the ebook, the small ebook, first I made it for myself, to remind myself of all the techniques, of all the permission slips that can help into getting into the state of the wish fulfilled. And all of a sudden, I felt like a lot of you guys are asking the same questions that I used to ask to myself. So I told myself, well, I gathered all this info. Like, for example, there is a technique called the 3-finger technique. This is a mudra that was used famously by Jose Silva. I think that's how you correctly pronounce his name. And Jose Silva tells you that when you are in a feeling state and you do this, you trigger, like every time you do this after you get out of the meditative state, you are actually impressing the subconscious mind. You get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled when you are doing that. So you basically go into the meditative state, then get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, then do this, and say to yourself, every time I do this, I will be in that state. So throughout your day, when you feel like you are getting out of the wish fulfilled, all you have to do is just do this. And when you do it, just as simple as that, it will become better and better, and you will actually imprint that feeling or that feeling state on your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is so suggestible to like any thought or visualization or affirmation in the meditative state. And let me tell you something, when you are in the middle of it, like in the middle of your day, you're doing a lot of things, and all of a sudden you daydream, or you feel like you are like staring aimlessly at something, you're entering into the holistic right brain perspective, because we have two brain modes, the left analytical brain and the right perception, which is the holistic, where everything is here and now. This is why we, like the manifestation gurus, and including me, I'm not a guru, but I love to share my experience. When I want to actually experience something, I imagine it in the meditative state. And when I do it, I make sure that I get into the meditative state with all my senses. Like I imagine holding things, smelling things in my imagination, to the point that it's so inevitable that it will happen. So sometimes our limiting beliefs will hold us back, but that's a whole another story, a whole story of itself. So, long story short, guys, throw away your phone. I know this is kind of a rant. This is kind of a aimless video, or just a rant on manifestation. And I don't want you guys to rely on anything outside of you. I don't want you to rely on your phone. The phone hijacked my mind for a lot of years. I'm trying to detox from it. And there is a certain thing that's been bugging me lately. Sometimes I feel some of you guys are trying to get a permission slip from me. Don't get any permission slip from anybody. It's only you that can give yourself that permission slip. It's only you that know yourself. Not me, not any guru, not Neville himself. We're all here. We can live our best lives. But you don't need to take validation from outside sources. Like, let me tell you a little story. I know it's now completely a rant video. You don't need to do any techniques, guys. I'm telling you right now. If you can dwell upon the feeling state, just act as if, like assume that you are the man that you want. Don't wait for tonight to imagine. Yes, you can, but do it right now, throughout your day. Assume that you are the man or the woman that you want to be, and you will be it. Just as simple as that. I know it might sound like it's too easy, it should be more hard. I faced that problem many times. I think that sometimes we need to work very hard towards something, but that's not the case. Actually, many people work very hard, and that person doesn't get anything because his mindset is not compatible with all his efforts. So people actually stress over the strategy like 95% of the time, and they give the mindset only 5%, when in reality you should give the mindset 95% of the time and the strategy only 5%, because when you take care of your mindset, the plan will take care of itself. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you something. Imagine things just because you want to feel happy when you are imagining it, not because you want to experience something in the future. Like, imagine it as if it is happening now, as if it is now here. It's a fact. You don't have to go anywhere in the future to get it. Imagine it now. Imagine as you were as a child. You're just imagining for the sake of it, right? I want you to do that. That's it. That's it for today's video. So, one last thing, I promise. Today, I want you to take a piece of paper, and I want you to take your pen. Now, I want you to write down, what do you believe about yourself? Who you are, who you actually are. Write down, who do you think yourself to be? Like, what concept of yourself that you see yourself now as? Like, when you look in the mirror, what do you tell yourself? Good things or bad things? And be honest with you. Don't try to ignore that you are negative sometimes. Because by knowing what you don't want, paradoxically, you know what you do want. So don't be afraid of looking at something and don't like it, because it will tell you what you do like. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a bit of a rant, but hopefully you got something out of it. Till next time, I will see you soon.